Okay, thoughts on 1.5. If I saw this thing, okay, so number one, it says, suppose f of x equals this function, negative 2x squared plus 5x minus 8. I'm supposed to figure out, to complete the following. I'm supposed to figure out f of minus 1 or f of negative 1 plus f of 2. Remember, that's not f times negative 1. That's just shooting a negative 1 in there. And there's different ways to do this, but it seems like the most efficient way would be I'll just go ahead and figure out what the answer for f of negative 1 is by shooting a 1 in there. And then we'll do the same thing for 2, and then we'll plus the answers. And then later on we'll minus the answers, and that'll be the same idea. Okay, so f of negative 1, let's see here. If I saw this, I would go f of negative 1 would be negative 2 times negative 1 squared. Okay, let's do that over here. It's negative 2 times negative 1 squared. Instead of x squared plus 5x becomes 5 times negative 1, then minus 8. Shooting that in there, watch the order of operations. I got to square this before I times it right, so that's negative 1 squared is positive 1 times that negative 2 plus a 5 times negative 1 minus 8. Let's see where that leads. That's negative 2 minus 5 minus 8. Minus 2 minus 5 minus 8 should be like minus 15, I guess, so I'll keep that around. We'll say minus 15. Negative 15 for f of 1. I'll write that here. F of negative 1 equals all that mess. Okay, so we got negative 15 for that. Now f of 2, put a little divider line. F of 2, we'll shoot a 2 in there, so it's negative 2 times 2 squared plus 5 times 2 minus 8. Okay, 2 to the 2, that's 2 squared is 4. 4 times negative 2, hopefully you don't mind me doing this all at once. 4 times, because that's 4, times negative 2 would be negative 8. Plus 5 times 2 is 10, and then minus 8. Now we got negative 10 plus, okay, negative 8 plus 10 minus 8 again. I think that's negative 6. Let's double check. These two would make positive 2, I think. Negative 8 plus 10 is positive 2. Take away 8, so that's negative 6 indeed. So we got two answers here. F of negative 1 gave me negative 15. F of 2 gave me negative 6. So now that I know that, we can answer their question. We're challenged to do f of minus 1 plus f of 2, but we know the answer to both of those. So f of negative 1 was negative 15, plus with f of f of regular 2, I guess. F of 2 is negative 6. We shot them both in there. We got two answers, and now they're asking us to plus the answers. So we'll plus them, and that makes like negative 21, I guess. Looking good. And then fortunately, by the time you've done that, you don't really need to do much for the second part because it's the same thing, just minusing the answers. F of negative 1 is negative 15. F of 2 is negative 6. And we're minusing the two of them. And so just watch your signs and you'll be all right. Or use a calculator to get them right if you need, whatever. But we got negative makes a plus. So this is really negative 15 and then positive 6. If we were to put those together, that's like negative 9, I guess. Oh, it says it right there anyway. Yeah, negative 9. Cool, that's number 1. If I saw number 2, that one's particularly weird because it has all this f of a and f of h plus h and all this. I figured we should talk about that. And so f of a we can figure out. That's just us shooting a letter a in place of the letter x. So it's pretty much just going to look like f of x, just shooting an a in there. And so let's see here. F of a means everywhere I see an x, I'll put an a instead. So that is 8a minus 5. So no big deal. It's just weird. Now f of a plus h means every time I see an x, instead of writing an x, I'm going to write a plus h in there. So that'll be weird, but whatever. Now we're like a times not x, but something minus 5, and that something is a plus h. And then from there, maybe it'd be worth cleaning it up because we could distribute that 8 in there, The homework might take it like that, but otherwise we'll distribute and that'll be safer. So we have 8a, a times 8, is 8a. And then 8 times h will be 8h minus 5. So now I got that going on. That should be pretty good for that part. And then the first part is just what it is. And then f of a plus h, take away f of a. Those are answers that we both already got, F of a plus h we just did. F of a we did before that. And we're going to minus those two answers. And then we'll shoot an h over it and see what that does. It'll divide by h somehow. Hopefully something cancels and that'll be good. And so this, just so you know, is the only reason we're going down this route is because you do very similar stuff as you're establishing some things in calculus for those of you that need to go that direction. Anyway, so we have f of a plus h. That was the second one we just did. So that's the 8a and the 8h and the minus 5. So I'll shove that down there too. 8a plus 8h minus 5. All of that minus with all of that, which is what we put here, minus with f of a. Now f of a is the first answer we got. So that'll be 8a minus 5 over there. All of that being minus from all of the other. And we'll divide it by an h because it has the over h part. So we'll put it all over h, pretend like you can read that. And then it's just a matter of, we'll try and combine some like terms, watch the signs, and we'll be okay. We'll keep the h on there for now. But then remember, as we distribute this through, this is a minus that's minusing this whole thing. So as we do that, we'll have to be careful either to distribute a -1 or distribute the minus, or just watch the sign somehow. Make sure that minus is part of all of this. So let's see here. If we put things together, that's 8a, take away 8a is nothing a. So those are both out. No more a's. Then I have 8h, take away, and there's no more h's here. So I guess it's just 8h on the top. And then we have, interestingly, there'll be a minus 5, minus of a minus 5. So minus of a -5, though, you guys might remember minus negative is really like we're plussing 5. So this is really a -5 and now a positive 5, and those will cancel. So in the end, all we got is that 8h on top of the h on the bottom. And guess who cancels from there? And so it looks like we got just equals 8 over nothing. That's looking good. Okay. Wanted to talk to you about number 3 as well. Let's see. Number 3, we have, given that f of x equals this function, x squared minus 7x, and g of x equals x plus 14, we're supposed to find now a bunch of different stuff about them. So f plus g of -4 we should figure out, and all that. And so we'll do a few of these maybe. And so remember, f plus g of -4, that's different. Again, there's different ways to do this for sure. What some people do is they just plus the functions together, because if we're putting a -4 into the sum of them, some people like to do f plus g as functions first, and we'll be just like plussing these together, and then we'll shoot a -4 in there. I suggest to you, since we have to do all these different things, it might be easier to get some f of -4 and g of -4 results though. So remember, f plus g of -4, that's the same as, for our purposes, I might recommend at least this time doing f of -4. Let's figure that out. Then we'll plus it with the answer to g of -4 like we had done on the first problem. Because if we do that, then we'll have results for both f of 4 and g of 4, and we can, do the whole plus or minus or times or divide with whatever we got once we got those answers. And so we won't have to redo the algebra at all. That's why I recommend this. Anyway, so f of -4 we should figure out. F is this x squared minus 7x thing, so we'll put a -4 in there. So it'll be -4 squared plus 7 times -4. So let's figure that out. F of -4, that'll be, what do we say? Oh yeah, -4 squared minus 7 times -4. Let's do that real quick. So -4 squared, that's a positive 16. Here we'll put equals is or something. Positive 16, and then minus 7 times -4 is like a plus 28, I guess. So now we have 28 plus 16 is like 34 or something, 44. What's that going to be? Let's see, I think 44. Cool. Plus with, we have g of -4 we should figure out as well. So then g of -4 ends up being x plus 14. And so you can keep this part separate. You could do like, here's the f part and here's the g part. That would be probably a proper way to do it since we're writing it the way that we are. Whatever though. So g of -4 we can figure out. And that's going to be, remember, g function is just x plus 14. So we'll just get it to go -4 plus 14 and it'll be over with quick. So g of -4, that part we can do -4 plus 14. And that'll work out just smooth. So then down here, what do we got? Okay, the g part. If I wanted to keep them separate still or something, So then the g part becomes negative 4 plus 14 is like 10. So then we have 44 plus 10. And what's cool about that is it not only does give us the answer to the first part of 44 plus 10 will be like 54, and that'll be good, but also we'll be able to use these answers as the f part and the g part as long as they're still asking us for f of negative 4 and g of negative 4 type things. And so let's do that. Since this one's a plus, here we go back to f plus g of negative 4. That was like f of 4 and g of 4, so that's 44 plus 10, which is just 54 in the end. That's good. Now f minus g of 4 we can do by just doing the same thing, but we'll minus them. And so that's f of negative 4 and g of negative 4 are still 44 and 10, and we'll just minus them now. So 44 take away 10 is like 34, I guess. Now it's going smooth, you know. Let's see what else. If we go f times g of negative 4, that means the same thing, we'll just times them. And so f of negative 4 was 44, g of negative 4 was 10, and now we're timesing them, so it's just 44 times 10, or 440. Looking good. And finally there's dividing at this point, and that handles the same way, so I would say like 44 divided by 10, or 44 over 10. That doesn't divide very well, so feel free to just leave it and reduce it. Maybe that reduces to 22 over 5, simplified. Looking good there. Let's see, anything else? Yeah, okay, so I wanted to talk to you about, this one's a little bit different flavor. Number 5, if we have, we're given two functions just like before. This is x squared minus 4x and x plus 7. Those are the f and g functions. But now we have to do f plus g of not some number, but just f plus g of x. So we don't get to get away with just shooting numbers in and making it quick. We got to do algebra now. However, it ends up being no big deal, because when you shoot an x in there, that means you just keep it the way it is because they already got x's in there. So it'll be all right. So f plus g of x, that's going to be take f of x and then plus it with g of x. And so here we go. F plus g looks like x squared minus 4x, that's the f part, minus x plus 7, that's the g part. And we'll just minus them, watching our signs together, Only thing I would watch out is, of course, that minus distributes through again. So we have x squared is still sitting there as x squared, so I'll put that in the answer part, x squared. And then for the x's, I have a minus 4x here, and then a minus on that x. And so since it's being minus, that's like a minus 1x. So minus 4 and minus 1 is like negative 5, I guess. Negative 5x. And then what else? We got nothing here as far as the regular numbers go, constants or something. So we have a minus on that 7. It looks like a plus 7, but remember, we're minusing it. So the only constant number we got is just a minus 7. So here we go, minus 7. Call it a day, And then we'll handle it similarly for the... Why did I minus those? Oh, man. I put that for the plus answer, but I minused them. We'll just pretend like I minused it there and that I caught it. I feel like I don't get a star for that. So that's the minus answer. And then we'll just pretend like you did plus between here. So if we minused it, that's what we'll get, and we'll put the answer down there. And then for the plus answer, so that's x squared minus 5x minus 7. Looking good. We'll put the plus answer somewhere else. So the plus answer will go the same way. We'll just plus them while the camera finds its focus here. See if I can tap it to focus. Looking good. Okay. If I put a plus between them, it's all the same junk, just not as many sign issues to watch out for. So we'll just be careful as we go. X squared is still the only x squared. Then we have minus 4x plus 1x. It'd be like minus 3x. And then looks like plus of a positive 7 is just going to be a plus 7. So I'm getting x squared, take away 3x, and then plus 7 when you plus them together. Looking good there. F times g is going to be the same guys. We're just timesing them. And so dig this. I was looking at the answers. You can kind of see them listed below there. Their take on it is this. We got x squared minus 4x. That's the f part, right? Timesing with the g part, which is x squared plus, just x plus 7. And we're to times them. And so normally from here, I would say maybe we'll simplify by foiling them out, distributing that through. looks like the answer key is okay, just leaving it undistributed, just kind of leave it like that. So take it when you get it, you know. Feel free to distribute it if you like. It should take it that way. Let me know if it doesn't. Anyway, but it's fine, just leave it. Now we have to have f of x times g of x is the same thing that we mean when we say f times g of x. And then f over g just goes like you would figure. You're just going to put the f part over the g parts. That's x squared minus 4x over x plus 7. Ta-da! If you're writing that in a computer, in my open math or whatever, it's good to know, like, okay, so you use a slash for when you're doing fractions in my open math, so be careful. You don't want to fall into this trap of saying that's x squared minus 4x over, like this with a slash, and then x plus 7. Because then it'll just think that like the 4x and the x are a fraction, you know, and it'll put these other parts on the side. So make sure you got parentheses around. All of this is on the top, and all of this is on the bottom, if you're going to write it like in my open math without using the cheater's key or something. Anyway, just so you know. That's good for 1.5.